Hi, and welcome to our workshop about cited reference searching. This is part of our workshop series that is online every Tuesday at 4 p.m. and then the videos are put on our YouTube channel and linked from our website so that you can watch the sessions later as well. You might be wondering what cited reference searching is. So let's talk about that. So let's pretend that I have this article, Impact on Society versus Impact on Knowledge, Why Latin American Scholars Do Not Participate in Latin American Studies. It was published by Enrique Mu and Milagros Pereira Rojas, published in the Latin American Research Review, Volume 50, Number 2, in 2015. So I have the information about this article. Now, if I want to know who influenced Mu and Pereira Rojas, I can look at their bibliography, right? Their list of references. So I can see into the past of this research. So these articles, and this is just a little fraction of the screen of the bibliography. And interestingly, the first one they cite is from 1966, but it's not until 2009, I believe, that we actually see something in Spanish here, which is part of their point. So this bibliography, this reference list is just kind of meta, proving the point of the article. But we can see that all of these ideas, all of these authors were talking about this. And Mu and Pereira Rojas got in on the conversation. They were influenced by these. This is footnote chasing. You've done this before. So that's going backwards in time. But what if I want to see what happens? So here's an image of that going backwards in time, right? Klein from 66, Gekas, Boyer, take it all the way up, Englander in 2009. All of these influenced the authors of the article that I'm looking at. But who got influenced later? Who read Mu and Pereira Rojas? What happened next? That's the big question, right? How can we even find out where this article sits in a continuum of articles? That's what cited reference searching is. And there are two main tools to do this. One is a database to which we subscribe called Web of Science, and you can also do it through Google Scholar. You'll get slightly different results in each of them, so if you want to be thorough, you'll use both. And I'm going to show you now how to do that. So I'm going to share my screen. So now you can see the library's homepage on your screen. Now I mentioned there's a database, Web of Science. Whenever you know which database you want, you click on Databases in Galileo, and you can either look at the subject lists, but if you know the name, you can go right to the A to Z listing. And I said Web of Science, so I'm going to click on W. And when I get down here, I don't see Web of Science, I see Web of Knowledge, but it says also known as Web of Science. So apparently it has two names. There is a story behind that. We won't get into it. So I'm going to click on that. I'm home, so I better log in. And now I get to the Web of Science search page. And it shows me that I'm searching the Web of Science core collection. So apparently there are other databases I could search. And it defaults to a basic search and gives me an example of a topic. You can use Web of Science to look for articles on a topic, but that's not its strength. We wanted to do a cited reference search. Remember the name of the workshop? We're going to click on that. And you can see now the fields that I get are very different. I don't have keywords to put in, but cited author or cited work, cited years. So right there, you know something is happening that's different. So my article was by Mu Enrique, and depending on how he's cited, if people are citing him in APA style, they're going to say just Mu E and the other author's name, Pereira Rojas. If they're citing him in a MLA style, then he's going to be Mu Enrique. So I'm going to put a star there to make sure that I get all the ways his name could be. And I think it's probably an uncommon enough name that I don't have to include the other author. If I put the cited year, which is 2015, then people who had a typo when they were citing it, theirs won't come up. So that's just a warning. So maybe in that case, I do want to do Pereira Rojas. Let's see what happens. Now, because that name is hyphenated, we might actually have other problems that happen. So let's see what happens. And I said we might have other issues because sometimes with a hyphenated name, you have to put it all as one term. So I can see Mu and Pereira Rojas published together with practical decision. That's not the one I want. I have 26 references. It's not about Springer Brief's opera. Latin American Research Review, Impact, yes, that's the one I'm talking about. Let's see. Okay. I always look through to see if somebody had some sort of typo or if they cited a different page, because that can happen. And then when you're done with that, you click Finish Search. So you select the one that looks like the article that you want, hit Finish Search. And now these 10 all cited my article. And I can find other information about them. So here, Passing the Microphone, Broadening Perspectives by Amplifying Underrepresented Voices, this cited my article. It also has been cited once. So I could click on this. It has 28 other, well, 27 other references. So I could look at this list of references and figure that if Wanda Magagan, I don't know how to pronounce the name. If these folks cited the article I'm interested in, maybe some of the other articles they cited will also help my research. So that's why it's Web of Science. I can just expand out like a web. I could also look and say, okay, this article cited Mu and Pereira Rojas. Who cited this article? What divides us and what unites us? And I can keep moving forward in the literature, perhaps tracing an idea. I'm going to go back here. The Find It button is here. So if I wanted to get a hold of Passing the Microphone, I would click Find It at UWG to see if we have this article. And it says the full text is available in Medline. Most recent 1 year not available. That's from 2020. I'm going to have to request this one through interlibrary loan if I want the article. And I can look through and see, again, here's another one from 2019. And you'll notice that a lot of these articles that cite my article haven't been cited that often. But that's also because they're fairly recent. It's unusual to find an article from 2020 that's already been cited, because by the time that article gets written and goes through the peer review process and then gets published, and then somebody else has a chance to read that article and write and go through the peer review process and get published, that takes several months. Typically, if an article is only a year or two old, it's going to be harder to find other articles that have cited it. It just hasn't been long enough. So these are the 10 articles that might be interesting to me. They might not be, but they're definitely worth exploring because they have something in common with my original article. Now, I mentioned that Google Scholar is another way to do this. So I can go to Scholar and I can look up impact of research of knowledge. That was it, knowledge. I have to look up the article. Versus impact of social change. Is that what it was called? No, I'm gonna have to look that up. I'll just do this. Enrique Mu and yeah, let's spell it correctly. Impact on society, that was it. You can see here it was cited by 23. So I only got 10 in Web of Science, but these 23 are all people who cited this. Some of them are the same. This Beyond Bricks 10 Theses, if I go back here, Beyond Bricks 10 Theses, that's the same. Some of these are in addition to the ones in Web of Science, but Web of Science also includes some that aren't here. So that's why I said in order to find everything, you want to use both of these. Web of Science also does some other fancy searches that you can do. We're not going to get into those today in this workshop. This is really just a brief overview on cited reference searching, why it matters, and 2 tools for you to use to do it. If you would like more information about other features of Web of Science, please do not hesitate to contact us, and we're happy to meet with you or make a video about it. So just to recap, what we learned is that this Mu and Pereira Rojas article influenced at least these other articles. And we could take that further by just looking at one of them, like the 2018 one by Kleinschmidt, and see that Kleinschmidt was cited by others. And then you could just keep taking this into the future. So you could just keep going and going and find, and you could also look and see what other articles are in Kleinschmidt. So you could look at that to expand out your research. If you are attending or viewing today's workshop for credit in a course, please fill out this assessment, and I will write it in the chat as well. So that we can see what you learned, and then we'll have your information to send to your professor if you are watching this to get credit. There, that is in the chat. So thank you for giving me 15 minutes of your time today, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.